Hello, Boston! Thank you so much. And one part of my bio that I intentionally left out because I want to give it to you live is that I am a Boston native, born and bred, okay? My dad is from East Boston, my mother from Chelsea. They were like the West Side Story. They had to sneak over the bridge late at night. My late grandfather, bless your heart, he came out and punched my father out and said, "Stay away from my daughter." And they've been together since my father was 14. Crazy. No, it wasn't all perfect, but they're together. Anyway, so welcome to Zemits. Welcome to Avalon Forum here in Boston. I am so privileged to be a part of this company for many reasons. Because first and foremost, the technology is next level, which you need that to be equipped and to have your finger on the pulse of what is happening in the industry. Those tried and true, those staples that are great traditional approaches with the current technology. However, as I was driving here this morning, so I split my time between here and New York City, and I'm driving by Route 1. Anybody near Saugus area-ish? Okay, I see it, right? So I drove by the Square One Mall. Who knows the Square One Mall? Yes, okay. Now, back in its day, Square One, it was the place to be, okay? We hit the mall, we do our thing, buy a little outfit. But now she's gotten a little tired, and it's almost ghost mall territory. And I remembered a story of when I went in there to Dick's Sporting Goods. I needed a little workout outfit, and I walked by, and there's a spa, a skincare studio in there, and the gentleman is like right out of Boston, big guy. You would picture ever having anything to do with skincare. And he's like, "Hey, listen, you want to get some $100, like a moisturizer for $100? And I was bone tired. I had been on a plane. I'm like, oh man, what? Come, get the hell out of here. And I sit still. I was like, all right, $100, I'll grab it. And he brings me inside, and I sit down, and I'm like, what the heck did I just get myself completely sucked into? Long story short, he said to me, what is a problem area you have with your skin? And through my tired eyes, I said, well, I've always had circles under my eyes. It's been a thing since I was little, and it's just regardless of what I've tried, I always just see that before I leave the mirror in the morning. And he says, oh, I've got something for you. And he pulls out his little gel, and he sits me down, and he's talking to me, asking me where I'm from, and he puts it on, and then he gets his blow dryer, and he's like, in my face, and he goes, so, are you married or are you happy? And I lost it. I'm tired, and he just got me with that moment of levity. And then he puts the mirror in front of my face. He did one eye, and I looked like I had been on a vacation to Bermuda on one side, and like I'd been drugged through the mud on the left. And he sold me a $400 eye cream that I use to this day, clearly. And I realized in teaching communications that it is also about how you present your product and how you connect with people that will ultimately be the trust factor, which you are selling that before you are dealing with any products whatsoever. Because this is what's happening, which you all just did to me these first 5 minutes up here. You're deciding whether you are in the car with a good driver or a shaky one, right? Who knows when you've been in the car with somebody who was a little sketchy? You're like holding on for dear life. Okay, honey, yeah, we're taking a ride in about 2 seconds, yeah. But if they're a good driver, what happens? You turn up the radio. You take a nap, that's the ultimate trust. You text, you talk, you're comfortable and safe. And that is exactly what your clients or respective clients are doing the minute they meet you. Now, Mike so eloquently mentioned some of my accolades. And they're important because, particularly for an event like this, you need to say, okay, this guy's been around, he's done some things. But I want to give you 2 different versions of how I present myself in a situation in terms of my accomplishments. So my point A would be, I'm a communication coach at Harvard Business School. I'm also a TEDx speaker, and I have a book that is out there. And you'd probably say, okay, good for him, he's done some things. But what if I switched it? And that's a traditional elevator pitch. And if I said, hi, I'm Dennis Kenney. I studied at Carnegie Mellon University in drama, and it was there that I discovered what rhythmic education is, which is that moment where you come into an event prepared, but you have enough trust to kind of play outside of the lines and create these organic, spontaneous moments. Now, I've still dropped what I've done, but you're saying there's something in it for me. And that's the difference linguistically that can change between a yes and a maybe or a see you later. So you're not undercharging because you lack skill. You're undercharging because you haven't learned how to talk about your skill. Now people, they come in, they pop up out of their Porsches, they have the little dog in the tote, love, and they're there, and they come in, and then you sell them exactly what you have. I have this amazing technology. It has this, it has X, it has Y, it has Z, it can do everything. And they say, no, I think I'm good. And the reason why they're saying, I think I'm good, is not because they're cheap. It's not because 9 times out of 10 that they don't have the cash funds. It's because you, and I say this with love, have not done a strong enough job of convincing them to say yes. You have not communicated the value of what you are presenting. Now, in my studies and in my work, in my professorial work, if you will, I have studied the brain. And this excites me like you wouldn't believe. So, the first thing we're gonna do, we just had lunch. She's settling in, probably a little champagne, we're chilling out. Turn to each other right now and actually overdo it and smile as bright as you can. Just smile, turn to each other. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. You'll get something out of this, I see you. You're not gonna get by me with that. She's like, nice try. Smile. So what we just did was we had a moment of levity, correct? But what we did is we triggered the dopamine, the serotonin, which are the happy neurotransmitters that are in our brain. Pick your poison, whatever it is, alcohol, dark chocolate, whatever you want, whatever you do. The same exact chemical gets triggered when you give somebody an authentic smile. And just see, we just created an energy. Now that sounds obvious. You're like, okay, buddy, Harvard, I don't need to hear from Harvard that I'm not gonna smile at my customer. There's a difference when you get off the call with your daughter or son. Trust me, I have been there. Dad, Mom, what are we gonna do? When are you gonna be home? We're gonna have for dinner. I'm gonna in a second, okay, Felipe? Hello, hi, yes, come on in. I just brought all of that energy into the client, and they are deciding whether they are in a car with a good or a bad driver. And I love what Mike did before. He said, let us center ourselves for a moment. That's important. You know why that is so important? Because those 2.2 seconds, I'm not saying take a 20-minute yoga retreat, but those 2 seconds allow my brain, my body, and my intention to center. I drove in New York City and also have been on the subway in New York City, and the T is the same. And I'll never forget it. Who, by a show of hands, is somebody that can read in public? And I'm not saying reading, a sign. I'm saying like read a novel. Amazing. I can't do that, okay? I need complete pin dropping. I don't want to hear a word. So I'm on the subway in New York City, probably tired, bone tired, and I'm looking at this girl across from me, and she's reading her book, deep in her novel, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, she's just in it to win it. And there's like, guy coming by asking for money. There's somebody doing backflips, doing the whole thing by it. There's coming up, we're getting stuck. We're trying to get on our phone, and then we go, yeah, I'll call you back. I hate that person, right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go in the thing. We're gonna call you in a second. It's like, hello, we're not in your apartment. But the point is, I digress. And I saw her get to the end of the chapter, and you know what she did? She closed the chapter on her hand. She didn't shut the book, but she shut it and kind of closed her eyes, and I said, boom, light bulb moment, Oprah Winfrey, aha. She is digesting what she just read. So when we are coming with our products at people, it's almost like we're holding our breath and going underwater for an Olympic lap on the pool, when in fact, if we just let it breathe for a moment and digest, we actually have a second to make that decision, and we give our client that opportunity to digest. So you speak before you say a word. Eye contact, your posture. Now imagine, let's do a little minds. If I just got introduced and I came out like this. Hi, do we have this all set up here? I need a little bit more on the, yeah, okay. Hi everybody. Okay, so what I want you to do is, you're like, okay. But when I come out with my posture up, and I'm walking with credibility, with intent, and with purpose, and even in a very intimate space with one other person, which is such a vulnerable, incredible space in the work that you all do, it makes the difference. And asking the question is where you begin. Even if they booked a facial beforehand and they're in a rush and they come in, I'm coming in for the peel, for the first moment you say, what's one thing about your skin you've never quite been able to fix? Now, why that question is so important is because people like to be listened to and be paid attention to, and also it gives you an opportunity to diagnose the specific problem. You become the solution. That is the key. If you come in and you say, I have this hottest machine in the world here, okay, you're gonna love this. This is the price. It's going to be rushing it. Another good question is, how does your skin make you feel when you look in the morning? That is a very powerful and precise question, because what you're asking them to do is to reflect on their history with their skin and with their face. And let me tell you something. I am a longtime skincare enthusiast. My mother, she trained me young. Dan, keep your face out of the sun. Keep it out, you're gonna get wrinkles. But I really got into it over the years. And what is so important is I go back to those moments where I said, oh, I struggled with this, or my under eye circles, what can I do? And it gives you an opportunity to come in and to be that solution. Or you can ask, if your skin could do one thing differently 6 months from now, what would that be? This is another incredible question, because you are setting a timeline. You are stretching that out as opposed to a transactional one-on-one. Coming on in, all right, I got something for you, unless they're here on vacation or whatnot, or they're just passing through town. But you allow yourself to create a game plan which lengthens your communication with your potential client. Write those 3 down, they are keys, and I will have a challenge for you next week. You're going to throw one of those out with a prospective client and you'll thank me. Now, stories are important. A little bit more of my scientist mind I'm gonna give you. This is not a lay audience. You are experts, respective experts in your field. Now, your prospective customers are a lay audience, meaning most likely they're not experts in skincare. So if you overwhelm them with spec after spec after spec, there comes a point where it's like noise. Because the human mind can only absorb 3 to 5 pieces of information at one sitting, at one digestion. But now, in an hour and a half from now, you may not remember every single thing that I said, but maybe you'll say, oh, that Square One Mall, I remember when he talked to me about that. Oh yes, I have to ask somebody a question when they come in and really give it a moment to breathe. Stories also make it specific and personal. If I say, oh, I have so many clients, they absolutely love this treatment, it will give you just instantaneous results, as opposed to, there is a woman who has been coming back to me. She has 3 kids. She's always in a rush. She came in, she says she did not like her lines here. She just could not get it out. So what we did was we put up a plan together and we used X, Y, and Z. Now you're picturing that mom. You're either relating because you have kids or you're thinking that you don't, but regardless, you're having a reaction. And so I'm asking you for specificity, which sounds easy, but it's something you go on default when it's 10 people in for the day, when it's a long week, when you're juggling so much. So really take that time. So the point is, I'm not here to teach you per se how to have personality or that X factor, if you will. Because if you naturally are a person who is telling jokes and cracking them, and you know you can get the office or the spa to open up to it, or if you're maybe a little bit more reserved, those are all incredible qualities. And what I do with public speaking and communication is I don't do a one-size-fits-all. It's who you are, and you amplify your natural traits. So if I said, think to yourself right now, or write down to yourself, if somebody has their experience, has a treatment with you, what would you want them to say if they said, oh my gosh, you went to that new place, how was it? Was it good? How was she? What would you want them to say? Can someone raise their hand and give me an answer for that? I want to come back. Retention, and I saw yours, I got them both. She's the best. I want to come back, she's the best. I would argue that those are in the same world. I want to come back. What would be something that would make somebody want to come back? Results. Education, credibility. They have a plan in place, immediate results, and forecasting results, and being able to lay that foundation is the key. And we're going to get to it in a moment, which is right now, actually. Don't you love when it all works out? This is the VeraFace here. This device, this delivery system is next level. Why I am introducing this right now is for several reasons. Do we all know why when you meet somebody brand new and you struggle to find something to talk about, why we always go to the weather? Because it's something we all are experiencing at the same time. So we can talk about it, right? It's sunny, oh, it's gonna rain out. We don't really know where to go with it. But what if you had a system that will predict, with giving that client control, to alter the trajectory if it is not completely on the right path? That sounds very futuristic. It sounds like almost in the world of AI, which I work in that space as well, and every 24 hours it feels like it's advancing so substantially. And so it is important to have these tried and true facts in terms of being a great esthetician and running a great business, but you have to have your finger on the pulse of what is out there right now, which is this device. The ability to say, this is what I see down the road for you, and this is what I see now, and this is what's working. It's not all doom and gloom. It reminds me of Snapchat filters that project your age. Oh my gosh, I did it. Love you, Grandpa, I love you. I looked like my grandfather, I saw the face. So we're not trying to scare people, but we're trying to show them an intersection of saying, let me guide you to this world over here where we could go. I'm seeing a little bit of this pigmentation problem. So what are your current moisturizers that you're using? Oh, I know, they're amazing. However, that is not specifically the product you want to be using for what's coming your way. So it's an opportunity to connect in a very vulnerable space, which is not a negative thing. Vulnerability we sometimes associate with negativity, but vulnerability in that way positions you as the answer. You don't go to a therapist, whatever the therapist is, let's say you're going to a shrink, and you go in, they don't sit down and they say, and give you a long list of all of their medications and processes that they use when they haven't even asked what's bothering you. So you need to take that time. And what's wonderful, and you will see this in action later on today, is that this does not take a long period of time. And regardless if you're using the VeraFace or using just good old-fashioned communication skills, taking that extra 3 to 5 minutes will be the game changer. And in this case, it's 40 seconds. 40 seconds, I'm gonna look into the camera on that one. You can't look me in the eyes and say 40 seconds is gonna take up too much time. If you have 8 estheticians, you have your appointments booked, you're not adding onto the day, it's not expanding, you're not running behind, at least not because of that device. And in 40 seconds, you create an ability to almost palm read with results to back it up. It's not BS, and that is key. So asking the question, and then the number one, if you take nothing else from me today, trust me, I have learned the hard way, and from many CEOs, executives, they have all of this success and yet nobody does it. Even in America specifically, and I'm American, we come out of the womb and we are literally screaming out of the womb. We are told the loudest gets the piece of the pie the most. And what we forget is that the secret sauce is listening. You know, I wanted to say this actually. Each audience has a very different personality. And what I particularly love about this audience, because I'm doing my little walk around, I always kind of get in my zone beforehand, I love it. I said, what a studious, intently listening audience, which shows me you are so driven to improve and to be better. But let me say something. If I said to you, oh, I'm going to an event after this, I need a joke. Do you have a joke? Do you know what I hope her first question is? Where are you going? Because the joke that she would give me could make one room thunderous applause, and it could clear another room real fast. So the point is, you need to know your audience, and you need to ask those questions, whether it is a reference point. You've had this client, she comes in a little hot, she's got a lot going on in her life. My point is to settle her. Or somebody who needs a little bit more animation, because we don't always know what they're bringing into the room. And so by taking that time and listening, that is the key. Now with this particular device here, what is so phenomenal, and I was watching some of the demos back there, I implore you, try it before you leave. It is phenomenal. Because what this does is it gives you that trajectory, and it also gives you your age. And it's not looking at your birth certificate. It is looking at what your epidermis is communicating to you. It's a little intimidating, but the thing is that once you get in there, now I have a reference point of where to start to improve, or validation that certain moves are actually working, which is always nice to hear. Before you tell them what you recommend, tell them what you see. So, I've had Botox, had some fillers here and there, started dipping my toe in it a couple years ago. And I have had varying experiences of it, and not just in how I felt that I looked. I had this guy in New York City. He's got several locations. The man is rolling in the dough. I mean, it's insane, it's gorgeous. I walk into the office, I'm like, can I just hang out here after for a bit? Gorgeous, he's fast, he looks good, he comes in, he's flashy, which is fine. And I tried to tell him what was going on, and I wanted to get this filler here, and he shot me up, and it was like I was on a conveyor belt, and I got a bruise, I got a shiner, and I was sent on my way. And 6 weeks later, I looked good, but I had to use all kinds of foundation. It was like, oh, Dennis, you okay? Is things okay at home? I'm like, no, I went to the freaking dermatologist. But then, the other experience, a woman here in Wellesley I went to, she took her time. She said, we're gonna test a little area here, and then you're gonna come back in 2 weeks at no additional charge. Okay? And we came back in, and then she guided me, and once she gained my trust, she said, well, you know that there's a Botox that'll actually last twice as long? Ding! She said, you'll get you through the summer, we're gonna get you through the fall. Because she was patient and listened to me, she could sell me anything right now, and I'm like, let's go. And I'm ready, and she's gained that. And she also took time midway through because I'm a fainter, big wimp. Horrible. Little TB test when I was a little kid, they'd be like, oh, Dennis is on the floor. And she took her time with me. She backed up, was like an artist at work. And then she took a moment, and I'm not saying this because it was nice to hear, which it is, but she said, you look so good. You look handsome. Through the crazy day that she has, she's booked. But that connection with me built that trust. So through the craziness of life, life is gonna life on all of us. Make sure that you take those breaths and take those moments. Now, in terms of the prediction factor, which is so important, it's just the example I gave. She now has a plan for me. I know I'm going in 2 weeks. I'm gonna be set for the summer, for the spring and the summer. She added vitamin C, which I'd never done, and I'd like to think that I'm relatively knowledgeable in the skincare. She's added that because she diagnosed it properly. One other thing that she did, I thought, okay, I want the chiseled jaw. You know, everybody's got the chiseled jaw. So I went to 2 other people before and got the chiseled jaw. It looked fine. But then I was like, still something wasn't working for me. So then I go to her and I'm telling her what I want. So here, you would think as a business person, he or she's saying to me they want the $2,000 jaw. She said to me, no, you don't want the $2,000 jaw. It's gonna make your face look heavy down. And she got rid of it, and I'm feeling good. And I'm like, thank God. I have moments even when I'm driving. I'm like, oh my God, thank God she told me that. I was like, what? I don't know. And that now, she's gonna have my money long-term. So playing that long-term game, and just not based on what you say, but also on the ability to predict and to show. Now, with a scan, with new devices that are coming into our realm, I want you to think about what you can charge for as opposed to what you cannot. So marketing is going to be key in terms of putting your services together. Any new device, i.e. the VeraFace, that can make its way into your existing protocol in such a short period of time, but give you such deliverable results in terms of credibility and long-term retention, that is a win. That will pay for itself. That will continue to have them back. Or you can do one of the 3 options, depending on your communication and your relationship with your potential guests. Coming in for recruitment, you can say, you come in, we're gonna get a scan, so we're gonna specifically know what those problems are and what we can address. Number 2 is you say, get a scan, and you'll $50 towards our next treatment. So that's fantastic. You've got them locked into coming back. They're having all of that incredible information that they would not get just from, I'll take your word for it because I'm under the hot light. And then you're also able to highlight your other services. And then lastly, the premium bundle. Listen, I'm not gonna say this applies to all of your existing customers. However, some people want that caviar, that creme de la creme, that experience, if you will. And so this can become that high tier menu option. So 40 seconds, 12 skin parameters this covers. Hydration, pigmentation, you name it, covered. 3 to 5 years, you have the ability to forecast. If I have that experience where you're patient, you're listening, and most importantly, you take the picture at the beginning and you can take it at the end for a before and after, or you have a reference point each time you come back to see the trajectory. It's like when you go to a fitness trainer, they say, we're gonna take your body fat measurements, we're gonna do this. the intention is for information, but then to come back in 6 months and say, all right, look good. And this gives you that ability in the skincare industry. Now, I'll wrap towards this for you. People are gonna have objections. And again, like I said at the beginning, 9 times out of 10, it's because you have not done as much as you possibly could to convince them that this is something that they need. Necessity is the key. I don't care, I have had different variations like we all of financial stability and instability. If you're gonna make me look better, I'm gonna beg, borrow, steal, I'll mortgage the house. It's important that you communicate that you can help and that you can guide. So they said, let me think about it. Here's just a few questions that could potentially help you navigate and pivot. So is it the timing or is it the investment? Oh, I don't know about timing. Now you have a way to get into that conversation and to continue to answer. Look, it's a lot of money. Well, first of all, you're not gonna say this, but this is understood. You are going to pay for, my mother again, I love it, she told me, you get what you pay for. If I'm gonna get the $20 version, I don't wanna, you're not messing with my face for a $20 version. So have that assuredness. Who here, you can or cannot raise, but I'll be the first one, is that imposter syndrome ever, in some capacity, whether it's as a skincare esthetician or in other areas, right? Thank you. We all have had those moments, and that is the intersection of you wanting something so desperately, which is a good sign of passion, and also just doubting because I think the human mind, we're conditioned to think about the worst case scenario in so many things. But as opposed to saying, I have done the work, I am here, and having right devices to help support your credibility. So remember, before you tell them what you recommend, tell them what you see. And my call to action is on Monday. I want you to take a little extra time in between, that extra minute and a half before you get your next guest to come in. And I want you to ask the extra question, the additional question, and I want you to look them in the eyes, and I want you to smile. Not a fake smile, hi, a genuine one. Welcome, come on in. How's your day going? Oh yeah? Same here. And you create that entire experience. So when that person leaves back out into this crazy, beautiful world, they realize that they've had an experience, and when they hit their car, that rear view mirror, they said, damn, I look good. Thank you for your time. So.